my name is Marcus and welcome to Tabletop Reviews, where today I'm having a look at Colossal Arena by Reiner Knizia. I think this is my first ever Reiner Knizia game that I own, actually. That's pretty interesting. And again, I'm only using the top because if I brought the bottom, everything would go flying around in here. Very annoying in the box in that one. But before talking about anything, let's head to the table, see how it's set up and how it's played. Alright, let's set it up. And the setup is basically the same, but for the sake of it, I'm just gonna say this is a two-player game. Yeah. Oh, that been messed a little bit up. You can start off by every player choosing a color. You have a little 8 card here, but every player chooses a color. Let's just do red and yellow, this one. And they get 5 chips of that color. Then you will grab the 12 cards with the red back, and you will have to remove 4, so you only have 8 in total. The other 4 is just moved to the side. Then the cards with the blue back, you will make sure to remove the 4 that you just had removed from the red back. The 8 cards with the red back will simply just be played and are placed in a row in front of the players, and the blue backed cards will be shuffled up, and 8 will be given out to each player, and just a pile at the end. And there you are. That's the setup for this game. Now, each game will be played over 5 rounds, not multiple. 5 rounds is the maximum number of rounds. Now, if the draw pile over here ever runs out, you also end the game right then and there. But otherwise, it's 5 rounds. A round ends when every single of these opponent of the gladiators, which they're called, that are left, have a card underneath with a numerical value or a referee. Once that happens, then you check who is knocked out. That's of course whoever has the lowest amount. And you know, in round 2 you only have 7 cards, and then moving on to round 5, where you have 4 cards, the last person is knocked out, you have 3 surviving cards. So yeah, and each round is of course going for each player having a turn. And that could of course be each player having 20 turns, that could be each playing having, well, 4 turns in the 2-player games, because then you have filled them up. A turn consists of 4 phases. Phase number 1 is make a bet. You can make an open bet by simply taking one of your chips and placing them below one of the gladiators. Or you can make a secret bet by simply grabbing one of your cards that you have on your hand, putting it face down and putting a chip on top of it, and then you have a secret bet on whatever monster or gladiator was on that card. You can always skip any phase you want. In phase 2 you'll play a card. You'll play any kind of card, and if you want to play it below a gladiator, it has to either be the same as the gladiator, be one of the referee cards, which are ones that don't have a numerical value, or be one of the audience cards, which have yellow text. That's kind of the best way to recognize those. You can play them underneath any monster you want, even ones that have been played underneath already. One thing might happen if you play a card. If you are the supporter of a gladiator, which means you have the most amount of bet on that gladiator, so you know you have 2 chips bet on that gladiator, your opponent has only 1, you're the supporter. Then when you play a card onto that gladiator, beneath that gladiator, then you get to use its special ability. You might want to do that at various points in the game. Now if a supporter card, one of the ones with the yellow text, has been played, and then you play your card on one that you're a supporter of, you can't use this ability that turn. You have to wait next turn. That's what the supporter cards, the audience cards do. They block the ability. but they still count as a numbered one. Once you've done that, it is phase 3, which is throw away cards and draw new cards. Now you can throw away cards if you have cards of any gladiator that has been knocked out. So you can do that in the first round, but second round maybe. And you draw up, so you always have 8 cards on your hand. Now, phase 4 is to see if any gladiator has been knocked out or eliminated. If that hasn't happened, you skip phase 4 and it's your opponent's. You simply go like this until round 5 or until the deck runs out. You can, you know, until secret bets can only be made in round 1. That's very important for me to say. But otherwise, you continue going like this, playing making a bet maybe, playing cards. You of course only have 5 bets, but until round 5, where there's only 3 surviving, and then you count up points. Now, of course, making a bet in round 1 is better than making a bet in round 4. You have a little handy card, but basically a round 1 bet is 4 gold, or 4 points. Round 2 is 3 points, round 3 is 2 points, round 4 is 1 point, round 5 is 0 points. You don't get points for betting in round 5. If you bet a secret bet, then that's worth 5 points if that gladiator survives. It has to be one of the 3 surviving gladiators after round 5. So yeah, that's how you play. It's a little bit complicated, but it's okay. So head back up for my final thoughts. So that is the gameplay and the setup. Now let's talk about that exactly. I gotta scroll down so I can see what I've done. It's written down. Gameplay. It is a bit complicated, I think. We had some struggle when learning it. Oh, this thing like you're gonna add them up, and the new one you don't add together, and you gotta think about every round after that. It seemed a little bit complicated, but it's actually really good gameplay, I think. It's very fun gameplay, this thing about trying to build up, and you're trying to see like which ones do your opponents you want to go through. Do you want to change bet on someone else? Do you just want to bet early on those same ones? A bit of a back and forth there, and of course you have the secret bets, which is exciting. Trying to figure out where they are. So I think it's a little bit complicated. A few things to keep in mind when you're playing and when you're playing out a card. But it is definitely quite a fun game, and I think it's very good gameplay wise. Yeah, I don't really like the abilities of the cards. I think we didn't really use those in any game I've played with this so far. Not a lot, but the abilities doesn't seem like they do anything, and I don't think I've seen a referee card played, because again, it just doesn't seem like good cards to have. So yeah, abilities and referee cards not really used. So yeah, that means that the audience cards are usually just used as a wild, just to throw them in. So yeah, not over the grade on that, but otherwise the base of it, you know, putting down some bets, putting numbers on the cards to try and see who makes it through to the final round and survives. I think that's a very good game, fun gameplay. The components, there are 2 components. There's the plastic chips things, and then there are the cards. And honestly, I think both things are really good. The plastic chips, I think they have a really great sound. They're quite light, but they have a very good sound when you play them. They do a little cling, like a metal thing, but it's plastic. So I like that, you know, the sound adds to it. And they feel, you know, very soft, like plastic would, but I think they're really good. And then you have the cards, which are absolutely like they need to be. I don't think there is any reason to change up the cards. Okay. I'm a bit tired today. I don't see any reason to change up anything in the cards. They're really good quality. They're a little bit small, maybe a little bit larger, but absolutely perfect quality otherwise. And you have the artwork. I think the artwork fits in with the theme very well. That's one of the few things. Because it has this very, you know, scary and menacing. It's very made to be very mature, I think. Except there's no blood and stuff, but otherwise quite mature-ish. Artwork. It fits this theme of fighting to the death and trying to be one of the survivors. Pretty decent. But talking about theme,
the artwork is the only thing within this one that has a theme. I think this game, Colossal Arena, just the game itself, as far as I remember, it's been done like 5 times. Recently, Equinox, I know that Titan and a few games before this one, it's been done quite a few times. In fact, there are many different themes. So, no, it's not very thematic at all. Only the artwork in this one fits the theme, and I think that's the only right reason they have changed the themes, is to change the artwork. It very much seems that way. So, not really a lot of theme. Does it lie to you? It says... It doesn't say on this one, it says on the bottom box, annoying. What is it? What does it say? 8 plus 2 to 5, 40 to 60 minutes. 8 plus, sure. I think you need to be a little bit older just to understand every single bit of the concept. 40 to 60 minutes, well, yeah, sure. When you've learned the game and you're playing through, I think that's fairly accurate. Of course, all of the time it might be more or less. That's the thing with board gaming. Fucking hell, man. Ah, Jesus Christ. 2 to 5 players. Yeah, we played it at a 5-player the first time, and we played 2-player. 3 and 4 not as much, but we're in between there. And I think every step, I think maybe 3 or 4 would be preferable, but I think every step does something different and something very nice. So, I was at a lot of other games. I would recommend any of the player counts to 2 or 5. Because at 2 you get a very intense back and forth, where you're constantly being like, okay, I need this to happen. Okay, boop. Okay, play that. Does that change my strategy? And it also allows for not a lot of change to happen. You are very one-on-one, and your plan might be easily played through. I also find that when you're only 2, you very often bet on the same ones, and it's a very close game where, like, I bet a little bit sooner on this one, therefore I win. That's the only thing in 2 players, so it's very much close. You go to 5, and it's a bit more chaotic. It's very changeable, right? You're sitting here with a plan, you play at the card, and you're hoping the plan goes through, but there are 4 people going before you to change the game completely. In the early stage, where you have 8, 7 cards, 6 even, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but in like round 3, 4, 5, the final rounds, the game might be over after one of your rounds, and you could have lost because of that. It becomes a lot more chaotic, a lot more unpredictable. But I think both things, and then of course you have 3 and 4, which makes it a little bit less chaotic, a little bit more chaotic in between, you know? But I think it definitely has its suits for that. With the more chaotic, it becomes a lot more gambling, you know? I bet on this one because I have some cards, but then again, 4 people after me. Oof, it's difficult. So it becomes a lot more of a gambling game, a lot more of a betting game. And, you know, that's the entire appeal of it, isn't it? The gambling aspect. But in a 2-play, it's a bit more intense, trying to, you know, just be first on your opponent to get these ones through. And yet, a game can change like that, and all of a sudden, 1 point you've lost. I think no 2-play game has been above 2 points. I think it's been 1 or 2 points between them. Thinking. So, and of course, 3 and 4 is a little bit less, a little bit more in between. So I think this is probably one of the ones where the range suits a different kind of needs. So, final score is going to be another 7 out of 10. As I say, the game itself, just betting on these 1 cards and trying to get them through, pretty interesting. The referees, the audience, the cards, the special abilities, I don't really think that they have a lot of use within the game. At least we in my group haven't found use for them. We haven't really used it. I think only once did we use it for a fine purpose, but then we completely forgot about it. We just went through, and even when just 2-player, when we have more time to think about it, we just don't use the abilities. It's not something that we do. So I don't really see a purpose of those. Of course, as I said, it's very non-thematic. It's been changed a lot of times, so it's very non-thematic. Non-thematic games are going to be dragged down with me. I need that theme. So in the end, it's a 7 out of 10, but it's a really fun game. And am I keeping it? I'm probably going to be keeping it, yes. Mostly because of nostalgia. A little fun story about this one is, at least 10 years ago, I found it on a, what do you call it? What do you call it in English? It's not really like a market, you know, of amateur sellers. I don't know, what the hell would you call that? Like a thrift market. I don't quite know what the English word would be for that, but you know, people go in and pay 500 to have a stall where they sell out of their old trash and hope somebody can use it. That kind of stuff. I can't remember what it is called in English. Sorry about that. A farmer's market? Maybe. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's something different. But I found this game and I had some fun with it. Me and my brother played it like a duel type thing where we would have these cards and try and build the best warrior to defeat the other person. Very different from this game. But I lost it. It's 10 plus years ago, so I've lost that game. And then recently I sent out a message saying, hey, can anyone help me find this game? This is what I remember from it. I remembered quite a few things incorrectly, probably because I was so young and because we played it incorrectly. But someone said, this one, and it is this one. I can recognize the cards anytime. So this is one, and so there's a lot of nostalgia to it. Because I remember me and my brother playing it. So therefore I'm going to be keeping this one for a long time, just because of the nostalgia to it. So that's a little story about it, about this game. But it's still a good game, 7 out of 10, fun, good. If you want a betting game, I would probably recommend this one. But that's another episode of Tabletop Reviews done. Until next time, bye.